Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Teatime Truth Talk with your host, Alicia, and my father,
Rev Rich.
And today we have another exciting episode for you today and another situation we'd like to cover. But before we do that, Dad,
as always, subscribe, like, share. And the share part is important because you definitely want we listen to these, we make assumptions of who we're talking about or what we're talking about. But sometimes that middle situation is important to someone who has never met us, never done anything, and need to hear this. And you who are watching this today is our connection to that person. So share. Make sure you hit the bell so that you're always notified. And if you're watching this or listening to this on our podcast, again, make sure you subscribe to With Every Encounter. Every day has a new podcast, and we're working on filling in the other days. And just make sure, and again, we are also on iHeartRadio.
Also, not only sharing, but if you have a situation you want us to cover, also feel free to comment or personally message. I don't know if that's a thing on YouTube, but if it is, but mostly comment a situation you have, and we can definitely get that up there as soon as possible as well.
All right, so what's today's topic?
Today's topic is, when is it okay to say no? Right? So the situation goes like this. I have a friend who I'm always there for, but it seems like every night they want to call or text me about problems and other stuff. The problem is that now that I have a job, I need sleep. But they want to constantly call me. When I don't answer them and get sleep, they get upset. I want it to stop, but I don't want to be a jerk about it. How do I get them to stop?
Yeah, I think we've all had that situation.
Most definitely.
We all have had that friend. And there's nothing wrong with it because, again, we want to help people. We want to be there. I mean, you and I are definitely overachievers when it comes to that. We want to really help people, and we'll go past something. But the problem is, and it's something I learned in ministerial school, is called boundaries. Mm-hmm. And self-care is most important. So like this person, I've had people who will contact me while I'm working or while I was at the church or while I was and they expected me to drop everything.
Oh, yeah.
And be there for them. And there's nothing wrong. Because, I mean, if it's a genuine emergency or, God forbid, something really happened and they need you at that moment, it's okay. But I get to set those boundaries. But if I got to go to sleep or if I've got, I received a call one time, I was at the church and I was doing the sound. So I'm up at the soundboard and I've got to concentrate on mic levels and all that. So anybody who's ever done sound knows what that is. Even if you've done DJing, you know what I'm talking about. You know, the levels have to be right. You got to mix right, whatever. And this person just kept texting and texting. I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. You know, why aren't you talking to me? And I'm like, is there something wrong? Is there something happening right now that I have to walk out of this church and pick up the phone and call you? No, you know, I got nothing. Okay, I had to set a boundary. Now, that person didn't like that.
Yeah.
Hasn't spoken to me again. I pray for him every day and hope that him and his family are well. I had another one did the same thing while I was at work, and I'm trying to explain to this person, I'm in my job. We were remote working because it was COVID. But, you know, I'm in the middle of answering chats and working with people. Give me a few minutes. Well, that person took it as an insult, insulted me, and I just blessed him and said, keep it moving. I have to set boundaries because I used to make myself sick. And this is a true story. I would make myself sick trying to please people or trying to be there for people, but not being there for myself. And that's the most important part. And if this person's a friend or a true family member, whatever, they will have to understand that there are going to be times that you're going to have to say, not right now. Again, I do want to stress, if it is an emergency, a true emergency, and that person, God forbid, lost somebody and really needs somebody, or God forbid, they're at that level of, I want to do some harm to myself or someone else. Yes, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to stop everything and be like, let's talk about this. Let's get through this. But if it's just, you know what, I had a bad day, or I'm, you know, and I talk about this at Unity Victimville. You know, I love that Lisa Nichols was a great talker, great speaker as well. She talks about, she goes, it's a great place to visit, but never stay there.
Oh
But
yeah.
you have people who move in, set roots, and do everything else. They want to be the victim. I want to talk to you because this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening. And I don't understand why my life is changing. Well, there's a saying that Narcotics Anonymous says that says doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. So, so that's one of those,
Well then.
you know, but that to me is the most important part of this whole conversation
Mhm.
is boundaries. Second thing I can say is self-worth. And I am truly a, how do I say? I can truly say I experienced this and I still experience it, is self-worth. Am I worthy enough to say no to somebody? And a lot of people never look at it that way. But a lot of times we don't want to say no to our friends because we don't look at the underlying veil. We don't look at moving that curtain over to face ourselves in the mirror and say, if I don't help that person right now, he's not going to like me.
Yes, it's that underlining fear.
Right.
I was going to cover that because that's one, especially with my generation. We have that need to please, that need to want to feel accepted. Because I was a person like that, especially since we moved here like 5, 6 years ago. Being a new kid and being that person who loves to help, I had that thing where because I was a helpful person, I had that feeling of need of wanting them to like me. So by helping them, they liked me. I've learned over time that, again, self-worthiness and self-love, I need to take time for myself. But that is one thing that they definitely need to figure out is the fear part of it, because of the fact that being afraid to lose somebody, you're going to lose people all the time. I've lost people here, I've lost people there, and my life is going the way it should. People are going to come and go, but the real people are going to stay and understand, especially when it comes to boundaries.
Yep. And lesson number 3 in this whole thing is loving yourself. And here's why. And it made me cry at a conference because this person came over to me. No, and it's funny, but this is what I talk about, looking in the mirror, and people, like, we talk about you sang the song Man in the Mirror, and people in that one verse where he goes, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, because of the fact that we don't realize that it's us. See, the problem is, we just talked about that. We don't set boundaries because we're afraid to lose this person. And we're afraid to lose this person because we want this person to like us, but we don't ever dive deep enough to say the reason we need them to like us because we don't like ourselves.
Yep.
And we don't love ourselves. And I tell this, and trust me, I've said it to you, I've said it to my wife, I've said it to people around me. You can't sit there and say, I love myself, and then follow it up with something derogatory. I love myself, but my stomach. I love myself. You, if anyone knows, I would never do videos because of my size. And I had to come to love who I am now to work toward who I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to boundaries, a lot of times we don't want to say no to something or someone. And my journey now as minister, where I was and where I thought I would be. And there was a part of me that said, no matter what they wanted, I was going to give it to them because I was afraid to let it go. But I was afraid to let it go because I didn't want them not to like me, and I didn't want them not to like me because then I didn't feel worthy enough to be a minister. And over the last couple of months, I realized that by letting that go, I've been asked to talk. I've been asked to pray in Spanish, which I've never done. I've been asked to facilitate technically 2 weddings and a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that weren't happening when I was attached to this, but was happening afterwards. So it made me realize that I have to begin to self-worth in the sense of I have to love who I am now. I know who I want to be. I know how I want to be. I know what things I want to do. But in doing that, it now becomes easier because now I don't need somebody else's affirmation to say, I'm worthy, I'm a good speaker, I'm a good this. And by not needing them, I now can set those boundaries and say, I appreciate your situation, but right now, I need you to stop. Take a breath, relax. If something gets worse, then call me back. But right now, I need you to relax in where you're at because I need this time for me.
Well, also with self worth as well, and affirmations and things like that, because we always talk about how we need to let go of those negative things. But the one thing I've learned, especially with my generation, but all generations in general, is we're human, so we're gonna have our insecurities.
Oh, yeah.
So is it a better way of just being like, I love myself, but I have this insecurity, but I'm going to work on myself and work on bettering myself from that insecurity?
Yes and no. So basically, when we look at situations like that, you've got to understand. So if we ever watch TV programs, they love to make fun of people who do affirmations. And I've seen this for ages. They make fun of people who make affirmations. And partly they're right because, and I'm talking to everybody here who, I'm a millionaire. 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 What has changed? Nothing. Exactly. But part of that is knowing why you want to be a millionaire. Now, I'm just using millionaire. This could be me losing weight. It could be you wanting to do something more. It could be anything. But the first thing we have to do is release something. And we talk about this in Unity, and we talk about this. It's that release and receive. Because if all we're full of is doubt, if everything is, I can't do this, I will never be a millionaire, I'll never be this, I'll never be that, I'll never be whatever it is, and you can fill in that blank with whatever it is, all we're doing is filling ourselves up with that. There's no room for anything else. But when we back that affirmation up, now in the Unity we call it denials. Some people call it release. It could be anything you want it to be, but you need to release that. So for me, when I practice a Unity principle, my denial is that this fear of letting go has no power over me. It is my decision to accept the fact that I want to do this or I am this. And I know that in knowing that I am worthy and self-worth and I love myself enough to become this, that I release this power. Now, no, it's not a pill. We're not going to drink a pill and, hello, we're here. But it does take work. And this is why I always say, we were just talking about this, where people think that we want to find work that's easy. No, you want to find work that's meaningful. And yes, you're going to work hard. Make it fun. It's okay to be fun, but the work has to be done. So if you get up and the first thing you think of is, wow, it's another day. Wayne Dyer puts it best. I guess it's a real easy way to put it. He says, I get up every morning at 3 a.m. in the morning. This is his thing. And when I get up at 3 in the morning, I have two choices. I can either say, good God, it's morning, or I can say, good morning, God. So no matter what it is, it's what is, and it comes back to that word I use a lot, perspective. What is your perspective for the day? I have my challenges right now with my job. And as soon as those thoughts had, what did I do immediately? I am grateful for my position. I am grateful for my job. I'm grateful for what I get from it, because I need to release that negative thought, because all I'm going to do is keep affirming those negativities in me, and I'll get nothing from it. But when I release that and open up, then more positive things can come in.
Okay. Now, also, something I've also learned as well, especially from my experience as well, when it comes to setting boundaries, like we said, we're going to lose and gain and lose and gain and lose and gain people as we go along. But the thing I've learned is so we know that we have to say stop, but how do we tell them to stop? Because I know for me, I had a friend who kept talking about the same things over and over and over again. Again, I had to set boundaries, and I'm like, look, I need you to figure out, because I've said this, and this might work for some people, this might not work for all, but I told them that they need to stop calling me until they figure out what they want in their life. Because we were having a situation where they would constantly call me about these other people, but I've known these other people who would talk crap about him or them, and it was just a bouncing back and forth conversation. I'm like, I don't want to get involved in that. That's not me. I don't want to sit here and get involved in all this drama. I need you to figure out who you want in your life and who's going to better your life. And when you figure that out, then let me know. Right. Because I can't sit here and keep listening to the whole situation over and over and over again.
So it's funny because you bring me back to Wayne Dyer, because I used to love this. He goes,
I need to meet this man.
Well, he passed away recently, so.
Oh.
Wonderful guy though. He used to say, if you call my phone, I have I have my voicemail, and on my voicemail it says, if you're calling me to spread joy and love and be happy with me today, leave a message. If you're calling me with drama or something else, call Dr. Phil.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to change my voicemail real quick.
But the point is that that's a boundary. You want to let people know, I'm not here for the gossip. I'm not here for the drama. We talked about this in a couple of other talks about people being attracted to drama because it hides them. It hides the need for them to look in the mirror and say, what's going on in my life, by being in putting it on somebody else. So when we talk about that, the only person you can control in that situation is you, because you can literally say, and I've said this a lot in talks, I can walk out and I could be surrounded by 100 people, 100 women, let's say. And I said this at a talk one time. I said, well, if I use the B word in front of these women, would that be okay? In front of all these women, half the women would be okay with it, half the women would be with that. And I asked the women, do you think it's true? And it's like, yeah, if you call us a BI, what? And I said, I didn't say that I was saying BI, whatever. The B word I was talking about was beautiful. And they all looked at me and it's like, exactly. Half of you immediately went to the negative and thought that I was talking about something else. The other half of you, even if you thought negative, turned it into a positive.
Absolutely.
But in reality, there are still women, men, whoever, that you can talk and say, hey, you look beautiful today. And one woman will be like, what the heck is your problem? Blah, 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 blah. And another one will say, thank you. They needed it for that day. And it's the same thing when we talk. The only person we can control is us. So I will never, even if inside of me I want to curse and do whatever, I'll never come out of my mouth other than how I want somebody to come to me. So I'm like, hey, look, I appreciate what you guys are talking about, and you guys have a good time. But for right now, this energy is not for me. Mm-hmm. And when you're ready to talk and joke and have a good time, call me. If we're going to sit here and talk negatively about somebody's son, and you're going to get two people. One, you may, and I always say that, always think about inspiring that one person. Because in that same conversation, you may be talking to 10 people. 9 of those people may sit there and go, well, now she's too good for us. She can't talk about people and gossip and all of that. And one person may say, hey, I like what she did. I like that she said that, because I don't want to be here either. But I do it because I feel like if I don't do it, they're not going to like me.
Yep.
And that's where it comes from. So remember that the only person you can control is you. And when you do that, always work from a level of integrity from yourself. How would you want somebody to come to you and say, hey, Alicia, I understand you're upset about something, but right now I'm in the middle of something, or right now I'm dealing with something and I can't be that help for you. Can we talk tomorrow? Can we talk whenever? Or can I refer you to somebody who can help you right now? And that way, it's in a positive tone for you. You know that you've done it in the right way. Your energy is right. And when this person can be pissed off or whatever, you know that their energy is on their side of the room.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that covered everything. But to sum it up, what we have been saying, it's pretty much, one, you need to know your self-worth and your self-love, and please practice that as much as possible. Again, we talked about a lot of affirmations. Again, it works for some people, it doesn't work for all, but affirmations are a good tool to use. But definitely set your boundaries. Boundaries is something that everyone needs to better themselves and to also better others, because that will help the other person who is constantly in need realize, I'm not going to have that person be there all the time. I need to focus and figure out how I can do this on my own as well, or look for someone of a higher purpose who can help them, and that can also better themselves as well. With that being said,
as we always said, we love you. Nothing you can do about it. And we will definitely see you on the next episode.